The market is now at fear 35, still not the worst we've seen this year. So, welcome back to the Crypto ZX channel, to the XRP Familia. Let's get right in today's update, really understand, what's happening with the price of XRP and what we could be expecting going into Sunday morning. So, as far as the broader market is concerned, let's briefly take a look at that. Again, on a 24-hour scale, once again, a lot of red across the board. Bitcoin is something we want to be paying very, very close attention to, as I said on my channel. Over the last 1 hour, we're seeing some sort of bounce for some coins, but again, like I said, we want to be focusing on BTC right now. But yeah, looking at the price of XRP, $2.40, down 4.4% in USD and about 4% in Bitcoin comparative as well. Valuation 142.6 billion, and the 24-hour trading volume at about $7.6 billion. As always, guys, just a quick disclaimer, anything on this channel is not financial advice. Always do your own due diligence and research when you are investing in crypto. Make sure you guys are following me on X, link in the description box below. But take a look at what Nate says. Love how every time there's a wipeout in crypto, the usual TradeFi suspects show back up to tell everyone how it's all a scam. And then you check returns over pretty much any longer term time period, and you understand why they're so eager for a victory lap. It's all so predictable. And that's exactly what's happening right now once again. What a lot of people will, completely neglect right now within this crypto space is, yes, we've seen a major flush. Yes, we've seen, one of the biggest, not one of the biggest, the biggest market flush that we have seen as far as, from a liquidation standpoint as well. And even from a Bitcoin standpoint, wick down 20,000 in 5 minutes. Never seen that before in the history of, crypto. But what a lot of people are forgetting is the institutional demand is not stopping. The ETF, filings have not stopped. The overall expansion of for crypto and how it is being taken quite seriously now, that has not stopped. And yes, we're seeing a little bit of a hiccup. Yes, a big chunk of the market got wiped out. But it's part of the game, guys. We have been in this space for such a long time. This is not my first time seeing this, but it was brutal, right? Again, it's not, by no means am I saying this was just like a little bit of a nice retracement. This was brutal, big time. And it ties back to what we've been discussing on the channel on how it is manipulation. Some people saying that a lot of altcoins might not rebound, but some are saying, this is the chance to see us seeing a complete shift in the crypto space where we actually see utility projects with the actually working product. The ones that have a lot of things going on for themselves are the ones that are going to rebound from here. Again, we'll see. We'll see what happens. It's still very early to say that. I personally do believe the broader market will rebound, but there's going to be a lot of altcoins that were nowhere near their all-time highs before. They might actually not end up doing quite well. So that is something we want to see as time goes by. But yeah, let's see more to do with what's going on. But take a look at what Quinton says, guys. If you don't fail, you're not even trying. To get something you never had, you have to do something you never did, which is crazy to think about. And I totally agree. Again, whenever I talk about this, I put myself into perspective as well. Again, I've been in this space for almost 10 years, and I did not, I still did not make it. Making it is when you are financially free for good. But, I'm very blessed. I made my fair share of, crazy amount of profits within this crypto space, and I've shared that story with you guys before if you are a regular viewer on my channel. But yeah, again, it's like a learning lesson, right? Like the first 3 cycles that I would say two cycles actually, because the 2017 was the peak was this first one. The second one for me was obviously the 2021, and then this is actually a third cycle in a way, even though I got in back in 2016. The first 2 cycles, believe it or not, guys, I lost a lot of money. I lost a lot of money. Years of, grind, years of blood, sweat, and tears, made my portfolio go great. But then guess what? Lost it all. Again, I blame myself than anyone else. I got greedy. The 2017 cycle, I had I had pretty decent, funds. And again, I know this is an XRP update, and again, this is something I want you guys to realize right now. We're gonna get a little bit more into, XRP as well, but we are still quite fresh, from this retracement, and I know there's a lot of people. That got scared from this move, especially the newcomers. And again, if you are holding spot, you guys are probably still relaxed. But there's a lot of people, guys, unfortunately, that lost everything, that were leverage trading. And this is why your boy Crypto ZX has been emphasizing since day one to stay away from leverage trading platform. But again, going back to what I said, the first cycle, I made a nice amount of profit, but again, I lost it all because of the ICO craze. Just kept on, buying different ICOs. Should have just locked some profit in and not get greedy. And then, I made like a huge chunk off XRP in that cycle. If you guys remember, I've shared this story a lot because I got an XRP very, very early. But then I started buying ICOs, and guess what? Money gone, wiped out, just completely wiped out. Then I started from ground zero again, rebuilt my portfolio, and did really, really good. And I had like well over, I'm gonna be transparent with you guys, well over six figures in 2021. But guess what? I got into NFTs. Boom, all gone. Then started again. And this time around, you guys know, last year, your boy was not greedy, and I did lock some profits, even though the market went higher after that. But this is what I'm trying to tell you guys. It's not going to be overnight success. I know some people, you look at, the time we're in now, it's so crazy. Social media has just like flawed everyone. The reason why I say that is because you're seeing these guys, posting, pictures of driving Lamborghinis, Ferraris, P&L screenshots, Rolexes, blah, 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 blah. Guys, come on. Not everyone's going to get to that. And, some of these guys, you don't even know whether or not it is a reality, but not everyone's going to get to that. You always have to put in blood, sweat, and tears into this, and there's going to be failures along the way. Every successful person, there is going to be failures along the ways. And with me specifically, guys, I'm like a regular person, and learn from me here. I've failed in crypto. I've been in the space for 10 years, and I failed, and I would say, finally, was able to learn from my mistakes before, and did quite well for myself. Again, not financially free, but I'm going to continue to work hard, and that's what I emphasize you guys to do as well. The mistakes I made in the previous cycles, I don't want you guys making. This is why I tell you, don't get greedy, guys. Ask yourself where your overall time frame is. If it's like short term, then of course lock in profits. And in terms of this bull market, I still think it's not over. I still think the market is going to rebound. But we're getting closer, definitely closer to the end than getting started. So lock those profits, and obviously if you're in for the long haul, patience is your number one key to follow. If you're going to be switching back to back to back to back, most of the time you do get burnt out. That's where the greed kicks in, and learn from me. I've done that so many times, and I wish I didn't, because some of the coins that I was holding before could have made my position much, much larger. But anyway, that was been a big rant, guys. I really apologize, but I'm just trying to tell you guys some things that I've learned over the years. And again, it's a learning lesson every single day. But take a look at this XRP, same scenario, new cycle. XRP Silico, structure is showing striking similarity once again. After the major rally in 2017, the price was rejected from the 2013 all-time high level and then retested the 2014 all-time high, which had previously acted as resistance. After accumulating strength in this area, it began its parabolic run. Today, the picture is almost identical. After the strong surge in 2024, the price was rejected at the 2017 all-time high level, retested the 2021 all-time high level, which had previously acted as resistance. Now the power accumulation phase is ongoing in this region. Following this consolidation, the next parabolic run will be inevitable. Patience is the most valuable strategy in the cycle. 100% patience is the number one key to follow. And I do believe that, if you're looking at XRP in a bigger time frame, again, we're in the 38.2 fib zone, guys. Yes, we're not in the 23.6. We need to talk about, how big of a, retracement we're coming out of. We're still in the 38.2 Fibonacci retracement level. Let me give you guys a little bit of a rundown. If you got in still since November, and I know a lot of people that have been holding since November, this accumulation zone, since then the price of XRP is still up 362%. Let that sink in. That's something a lot of people have forgotten, but we don't want to be forgetting this. And again, speaking about what I said earlier in this update, people have already forgotten what's happening, but take a look at this. Last week, Roundtable was a great opportunity for us to discuss the current state of the digital asset landscape and its competitiveness here in the Europe. Mika gave European banks and financial institutions the confidence to lean into the industry. As a result, we now see lots of banks and FIs such as Societe Generale and BBVA building out digital asset custody and tokenization capabilities, working with crypto native like Ripple. But many barriers still remain to fulfill the full potential. The benefit speaks directly to the goals of the Savings and Investment Union, including lowering cost and improving efficiency for EU businesses and broadening access to finance and investment opportunities. Other jurisdictions around the world are leaning heavily into the technology, so for the EU to build competitiveness, it needs to move fast and keep up the momentum. We're really excited about the opportunity for the blockchain industry here in Europe and keen to play our part in building the future of tokenization. And you can really see Ripple is making big moves, and yet people are overlooking this. And I think as time goes by, we'll really start to see, the importance of that. But if you're looking at the dominance here, 60.35% as of recording this update. Bitcoin right now is pushing up to 112,000 right now as we are going into Sunday morning. But as I stated in my other few updates, again, not out of the woods just yet. Of course, if we get back above 117,000, we'll be looking at it from a different standpoint. But I still think Bitcoin will drop below the 23.6. We're still in a long weekend, more manipulation than usual as CME futures are closed. There is a CME, speaking about a CME gap, there is a CME gap at around $92,000 as well. So are we going to fill that? We'll see what happens. Is the price of Bitcoin going to finally drop below 100K? That's going to be scary, of course, but are we actually going to fill the CME before heading towards the upside? We'll see, but obviously these are factors we need to consider. Yes, we're pushing up to 112, but I still think Bitcoin is not done just yet. XRP price, of course, reacting in a really nice way right now with Bitcoin. You can really see for yourself we're pushing back up to $2.41. Very, very nice way, obviously, to correlation with Bitcoin. And I have no doubts in XRP to reach up to the $2.60 much quicker than a lot of people realize. But Bitcoin needs to stabilize itself, and I still don't think Bitcoin is done yet based off of what we are just coming out of the last 2 days ago. I think it's still quite fresh. I'm going to keep you guys updated as always. Let me know in the comments what you guys personally think. But again, if you want to put this into perspective as to where we were on September 14th, that's still a move of about 32% from where we are. So I'm sure your people that are dollar cost averaging in, they are accumulating at a cheaper price, and that's obviously a reality right in front of us. But again, let me know in the comments what your personal thoughts are, and let me know if you guys agree with what I stated. Thank you for all your support. Follow me on X. Make sure you guys are following me on X. Love you all. See you later in Crypto ZX, and peace out.